Welcome to the Random Review. Today I'm actually doing an interview. Today I have with me Gothic Gaara of the Konoha Corner podcast and a Maimon for the Blue Exorcist, who is also Sasori on the Konoha Corner. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves a little bit better? Starting with Gaara.
Like you said, I'm Gara from Konoha Corner, the longest running Naruto podcast on iTunes. We're also on Zune. We're starting to post stuff back up on YouTube. And I am also Natsu Dragneel from the Fairy Tale podcast, which started up in June of last year. And it's also all up on iTunes, Zune, YouTube, all those good places. And apparently now on iPhone and Android. It's really weird how Libsyn works like that, but I'm loving it. So apparently you can download us on the Android and listen to us on the go that way. So it's kind of cool. We're tech savvy, baby! Yay!
Woo. Sasori.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sasori, or from Konoha Corner, also known as Amaimon, the creator of the Blue Exorcist podcast. We're a baby podcast, we just started. Go like us on Facebook.
I like how we're just randomly giving peace signs. It's awesome.
Alright, and I'm the host, Mr. Takeshi. So let's begin. Why podcasting?
Uh,
Now,
it was
why did you get into it?
well, I mean, there's several reasons. One of them was because I've been listening to podcasts, and that seemed to be, I guess that's the reason it kind of pulled me into that. I was listening to a bunch of Naruto podcasts, and actually I was talking to one of the only other Naruto podcasts recently on Twitter, and it's the Bingo Book podcast, and we were talking about the fact that iTunes is basically like a Naruto podcast graveyard because there's a lot of podcasts on there, but most of them haven't been updated since 2010, 2007. I've seen one for '05. It's just nobody can keep going with it, and I was always wondering why it was. But as soon as you start a podcast, you kind of start to understand why, because it's a lot more work than it initially seems to be. Um, but I mean, I was already talking about Naruto all the time, and there was already a One Piece podcast, so I didn't want to like copy them and try and do what they're doing. So I was like, you know what, I love Naruto just as much. Why not? Um, it kind of started there. It also started with I would every week I would call Killer Bee and Sakura from the show on my phone, and we would talk about the new chapter. And I was like, well, might as well do it over Skype and just record it because we our conversations usually get pretty interesting. And that was kind of how I was taking it. And then I realized I kind of wanted to go with like a show format. So it kind of like slowly became its own thing after a bit of time. But the reason why I went into podcasting was because it seemed like a fun and interesting way to talk about and promote it. And also at the same time, it saved my phone bill quite a lot more. So that was a big reason why I ended up starting podcasting. It was just another way to get the message spread out there, and I wanted to reinvigorate the franchise. I think the fans needed to finally hear an adult perspective on Naruto instead of all this kid stuff that's been thrown around the mainstream area. Like we're sitting here saying, look, it's okay to be a grown up and like Naruto. Basically, what we're saying. And there's a lot of people out there that heard that message and were like, "Thank God someone said it." So I think that's another big reason, kind of why.
Um, Sasori.
With me, when I first started podcasting Konoha Corner, it was just for the hell of it. I was like, hey, why not? Truth comes out, right?
Right? Oh, hey.
But then when I got into my podcast and I started doing stuff, it was all because I love the series and I wanted to spread it like legally and tell people like you can listen to this legally. You can, support the anime or manga, even if you are poor.
That's
So,
totally true.
yeah, it is totally true. But mostly because I love the series and I love podcasting, and recording engineering was one of the things I actually wanted to go into. That's on my back burner right now because of how expensive school is. But oh well. Yep.
I just realized while we were recording this, I need a Gaara mug instead of a Santa mug. I totally need like a little Gaara cuppy cup. Dude, where? I want one.
Maybe I'll get you one for your birthday.
Woot woot.
Unless you have it, FYE is selling Gar's Gorgeous backpack.
Oh, wait, hold on. You mean that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had that for about 2 years, year and a half, 2 years, somewhere around there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. When I cosplay, the funniest thing is I don't put anything like really great in it. I just stuff a bunch of clothes inside of it to make it seem like it's packed out. And that's pretty much how it goes. I pack it out with clothing, and then it looks awesome, but it's like not super heavy at the same time.
Alright,
I'm sorry, I'm nowhere near as funny as everybody else on the show. So.
I know.
Yeah,
No, it's fine, being 130 plus episodes in and pretty much coming up onto 2 years of the feed being on iTunes, what have you learned?
Oh, that you have to be patient, and there's a lot of things that are going to go wrong when you're trying to podcast. Whether it's your recorder not working, whether it's scheduling conflicts, there's a lot of stuff that can go kind of awry, and it's one of those things you're going to have to deal with. With editing, it's going to take a lot of your time. I didn't expect that when I was going in. I was like, oh, I'll probably be editing for like an hour and be done. No, I was editing for 7 hours. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, especially if you're trying to do a show format. You want to be careful with how many people you have on your show. You want to be careful with where they're all located, because different time zones can be a hassle when trying to get everybody organized and doing something at the same time. It's just it can be a bit of a hassle, and I didn't know that going in. And I've got people in 3 time zones in the U.S. and 1 out of the country in the United Kingdom, and it was, pardon me, it was quite a bit of a hassle to kind of organize everything, and yeah, fun stuff on that.
Oh god, my monster sister is up.
Sasso, it's your time to talk.
Oh, it's my time to talk?
Yeah, I stopped. I was done.
Well, that question was more directed to you because...
You've learned stuff over podcasting, but yeah.
True. I did learn not to have such a big crew, and you gotta be strict and lenient with your crew. You gotta
You have to learn when to be a buddy and when to be a boss. And the hard part about running a podcast is that you actually have to be a boss, and you can't. Yeah, I can be everybody's buddy once the podcast is over, but I can't be your buddy while we're recording. I have to be the boss because I have to get stuff done. And generally, there are people that don't like that, and you're going to ruffle some feathers, and that's just how it's going to unfortunately be, because the show has to continue, and you can't just go randomly off topic for a whole hour and expect me to be okay with it. No, if you're doing 5 minutes, I'm reeling you back in. Period. Whether I have to yell at you or whether I have to be like, no, come on, let's get back on top. It all depends on the person. Sometimes I do have to yell, and this is why we edit. But I mean, it was another one of those things, and I kind of knew that going in. But yeah, it's one of those things I guess another person would have to know about.
What are some of your most memorable experiences?
um, getting started was crazy because that took me about 2 months to get everything started. From when we actually started recording everything and trying to edit and work on stuff and figure out what recorders worked, which feed we should use, everything, up until the point that we finally went live on iTunes. It was about a 2-month process. So, yeah, that was really memorable because I learned so much that I did not know during that time. Trying to learn to work with Skype, trying to learn to work with recorders. That was very memorable. Redoing the first episode because my audio was horrible because I wasn't the one that recorded it. The number one thing you want to do if you're hosting the show is you want to host the call and be the person recording it so that your voice track goes over everybody else's because the way the recording's set up, it's your voice track, everyone else. So you kind of have to work with that. And background noise is always a problem too, because if you get somebody typing or moving around and shuffling around or picking up their mic or moving their mic and stuff like that, you don't notice that really when you're doing it, but the person that has to record it is hearing all of that, and they're like, I'm kind of glad that we don't do video, because when people are doing that and I'm trying to listen to somebody talk, I'll start cringing. It's my normal reaction to this. I'll hear, and I'll go, all right, we need to do that take again because somebody was making noise over here. And that's how it'll go. And I mean, it sounds like I'm directing, and I kind of have to because of that. But yeah,